Hello Hunters, Sin here, and in today's video I'm going to be reviewing the Title Update 4 patch notes for the hammer and for some of the game changes as well. So let's get right into it. First thing I'm going to talk about, of course, is going to be the hammer changes. So the couple changes they have are during the spin slam follow-up, you can now input a direction and this will extend the distance that you can cover. I've been a victim of successfully offsetting gore and not being able to connect my hit, so I hope that helps resolve that issue. Um, the next thing is the uh, focus strike, the part where it was dealing a fixed damage. I'm assuming this is talking about the 15 damage hit that happened on the initial hit of the focus strike is now gonna do maybe not a fixed value. So if it brings it in line with the rest of the hits, it should be roughly a 10% damage increase on the total value of the focus strike for hammer, which is cool. And then the last thing is that there was an issue with Type 2 directional controls where moving in certain directions after the overhead smash will cancel the movement. So I could see how this would be a nice change for the Type 2 players out there. I'm a Type 1 player. Um, but I could definitely see. I went to the training area to try to replicate this, and really easily I was able to see what they're talking about, how the overhead smash steps get canceled as a Type 2. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is going to be the charge up. So this is kind of a nifty change. This is something I talked about in my review video. The charge up skill, it gives us 30% KO value, but it doesn't really give us much more than that. So now it's going to give us some boost to our charged attacks. So charged attacks, that should be things like charged upswing, charged big bang, mighty charged upswing, and mighty charge slam. So kind of depending on how much damage boost that is, this could end up potentially being really strong for the charge-centric playstyles. Um, I looked a little bit at what kind of talismans are available with charge up, and it looks like you can get like a charge up critical eye one and a burst or an agitator or a weakness exploit, one of those like more valued skills on a rarity 8 talisman. So it could open up some more options with the talisman builds that we can use. Um, Also, just kind of looking forward to Master Rank and trying to predict what our decorations in Master Rank will look like. If we get more charge up combo decorations than what we have now, like charge up and critical eye level 3 or something like that, then this could, end up being a really strong skill in Master Rank too. So I hope this is something like plus 30% attack on the charge skills. I know that's probably a big wish, and it's probably something like plus 10%, but it would be nice if it was just a massive buff to kind of put more priority on those cool charged attacks that we got in Wilds, because I think those are pretty fun to use. So that's the charge up change. Um, and there's another set of changes for the hammer um, down here. So the following moves can now trigger bonus damage skills. So that will be things like Bad Blood, Scorcher, White Flame Torrent, those kind of pseudo blast procs. So now Charged Upswing, Mighty Charged Upswing, and Mighty Charged Slam can proc those bonus damage skills, which is good. And what I don't know about this and doesn't really clarify is, does this apply to the Corrupted Mantle? Because if so, that would be really cool. I don't think it will, but maybe it does. We'll have to wait and see. All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about the new content here. I'm not going to show the video. The Gogmasios fight is coming, so that'll be 4 people with 4 AI, so you could have like kind of this crazy 8-person hunt. I wonder if it's going to be a siege. It looks like it might be. Like we got to use some cannons and stuff like that. So that should be pretty fun. Um, and as a result of that monster coming, we're going to be getting stronger Ardian reinforcements and the ability to add armor set bonus skills onto the Ardian weapons that will allow for new armor combinations and new meta sets. So using a feature called Transcendence, we can also upgrade our lower rarity armor to gain more slots to help us with more flexible builds. And I can't wait to see what builds people are using and what kind of options we have because there's just going to be so much new stuff that we can do. So that's really cool. I'm looking forward to that. Next, the AT Jin Dahad is coming. So this will be a really fun hunt. I like hunting in Jin Dahad. I would recommend using Evade Extender 3 on it and taking the potions that will unblight you because it's probably going to freeze you and one-shot you if you don't have that. So that's my recommendation. Take Evade Extender 3 and take the anti-binding potions. And there's going to be some additional 9-star monsters, so I'm really looking forward to this. It doesn't specify which other ones besides the Dosha Guma's coming, but it says etc. So I'm assuming this means Dosha Guma and more. So, you know, more 9-star monsters would be cool. I think a lot of people really want to see Zhuwu as a 9-star monster, so that's kind of the one that I'm hoping they put in the game. But having the Dosha Guma as a 9-star is going to be absolutely hilarious too. I can't wait to fight it. And then they are adding the Rathalos 9-star, and it's going to be on the map. And that's kind of cool. Rathalos is the OG flagship monster, and it's nice to have him as a strong presence on the map. I'm down with that. And the last thing for the monster changes is that the monster is a quest with 2 or more monsters are going to have the minimum quest time raised. So I'm assuming this means for quests with 25 minutes, they're going to bump it up. And that's supposed to happen automatically. So that'll be kind of cool to see. Maybe some of those quests weren't getting cleared by people out there. And so this should help them out. And that's nice. All right. I'm going to talk about some of the set adjustments that are happening here too. So this this section they've got the elemental absorption buff is happening, so that'll reduce the cooldown time between skill activations. Flare, some things are happening with Flare. This is one of those skills that a lot of people had looked at and thought it was kind of bad, to be honest. I mean, it doesn't give you more damage really outside of the one damage proc, which isn't really enough to make up for the level 3 slot when you compare it to all the other level 3 decos. So we'll have to see if this actually is some kind of meaningful impact. I hope it does. That'd be kind of cool if it was actually useful. And then some of the set bonuses are changing. So binding counter is increasing the effect duration. I looked it up. This is actually a massive buff. Like 2-piece gives plus 25 attack. That's huge. Um, and then the flawless armor. This is the Gravio set. This is seems just like a damage that you take gets reduced by 5 or 10%. So I don't really know if I would find myself using this set, but it's cool to see some changes happening around that. And then the 3 down here, which are pseudo blast procs, Bad Blood Scorcher, and the White Flame Torrent, are all getting some buffs. They're getting reduced cooldown timers between activations, and their damage is going up a little bit. So I'm guessing this is because the actual effect when it hit was really weak, and so maybe that's to put a little bit more priority and emphasis on those, and that would be pretty cool to see. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is going to be here in the video, and it's this. So this is something that I had mentioned in my review, which was that we're just missing optional quests. They weren't in the game at launch, and I feel like a lot of people wanted these kind of quests where we had multi-monster tempered, like more than just two monster type quests. So it's really cool to see them put this type of quests into the game. That makes me really happy. Um, and they have some special rewards, so that's cool. This is like kind of what we needed. They also added each of these hunts called hunting exercises, and one of the things I like about this is that the way things are right now with the 9-star monsters, there's a lot of variation between the runners when they're posting their quests, like the investigations. There's not really like a standard way for the speedrunners to compare their times amongst each other because of the investigation variations and stuff like that. And I know that these will probably not have fixed HP rolls on them, but if things like the spawn conditions, like environmental spawn conditions, are fixed in these optional quests, and that'll create a little bit more of a fair and balanced environment for the runners to go at it. So I'm thinking maybe this will become like a standard for speedrunners to go on these optionals now as opposed to going on investigations. And that one of the bad things about investigations too is that you only get three uses for them. Now, I'm using a mod that gives me infinite investigations, but if you're on console and it's like you have to go farm investigations that you're trying to record speedruns on, that's not a very good use of your time. And here you can just have a monster. Um, it would have been really cool to see all of these monsters in the Wounded Hollow. Um, so maybe that's something we get in the future. I don't know. They said this was the final title update, so it's probably not going to happen, but maybe in Master Rank we get monsters in the Wounded Hollow, or maybe they give us a new arena in Master Rank and we get the monsters in that arena. Um, in Iceborne and in Rise, they had the special arena that you could fight like all of the monsters in, and they had like some rotating optionals and stuff like that. And it seems like they've kind of abandoned that idea, and I'm not exactly sure why, because that was really convenient for runners to be able to have those quests that we could just go in and do. Not so much the fact that they were rotating, that part was definitely not convenient, but the fact that we had it in a consistent like area and it had some gimmicks like a boulder and Dragonator and this other stuff in it, but it made it really consistent for us to be able to compare times amongst each other. So maybe in Master Rank we get those type of quests back. That would be really cool. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is going to be the festival. So we're getting the new festival, and this looks awesome. I'm so excited for this. Um, I don't think I'm going to be able to play a whole ton during this time, but this looks really awesome. I want this. I want all of this. So yeah, whatever's coming with the Winterfest, that looks really awesome. Um, all right, I'm gonna go back to the patch notes now. Talk about some of the adjustments that are being made. So they're going to be making some adjustments to the sorting options for pretty much a bunch of menus, RDN menus, quest menus. This is all really going to be helpful quality of life stuff. And I agree that this kind of thing was needed just to help us navigate that stuff. So good times. The the setting button is no longer at the quest counter. This is going to be something that you can get to. I'm assuming you'll be able to get to this from like the options screen, so that'll be really good. It was a little bit annoying having to go to the quest counter anytime you want to change your settings like that. this miscellaneous change made an adjustment so the players can no longer be pushed by the handler when in photo mode. This is a real welcome change for fashion hunters. Um, I spoke a little bit about this in my review, and I'm really happy that this one got put into the game. That's a good change. Another really good change is that they made the event quest for the Arc Tempereds available offline and for Savage Omega available offline. That's really cool because sometimes you find yourself, if you're on a laptop and you're on the go or something like that, and you're playing on a mobile device that you want to just do some of those harder hunts, and then now you can do that. So it's pretty cool. Um, this is one I think that is much needed as well, which is that there was an issue where not enough button guide information is displayed when the player gets restrained attacked. So this is like, let's say you get pinned and thrown by the Gore or by Seregios, and the button guide didn't really give you enough information to tell you how to roll out of the way, which led to a lot of players just thinking that there was nothing that they could do. But in fact, you are able to roll side to side and get out of the way. So that'll be helpful for introducing that information to the hunters. There's some secret changes here. Um, so if you're using an item and an automatic dodge happens from the secret, which is when you're about to get hit by a monster attack, the secret will dodge it one time and then it goes on cooldown. Then that won't cancel your item, so that'd be really helpful. Um, and they adjusted the speed of uh, recovery after an automatic dodge. And then they also, I guess, did a bug fix where dismounting it would accidentally call your secret back and you would mount it again. So that's really good. They made some hunter profile changes. I'm assuming that this is gonna try like make it easier for people to edit. I personally didn't have an issue editing it. Um, but I guess that's helpful. I would have just liked still to be able to make the hunter profile private. So maybe we'll get that option in Master Rank. There's also some support um, hunter changes. First of all, we're getting a couple new support hunters with Gogmazios. And then they made a whole ton of adjustments here where the um, support hunters were not acting properly. So this is like AI bug fixes on the support hunters. So that'll be cool for people that like to use those, whether it's in the Omega quests or just as you're doing other quests. Yeah, so something to look forward to. And definitely helpful for Gogmazios, which it looks like they're gonna want us to use those hunters in Gogmazios as well. There's been some confirmation changes. So they removed the button here. They removed some other confirmation things here. Um, so yeah, just some menu changes for quality of life for the players. They adjusted the text and the icons that appear during the fishing control, so I hope this will help for when a fish jumps out of the water, that it will give you a better guide on what you're supposed to do. I think a lot of people are kind of lost on that, and that can lead to frustrations when you're fishing. And the last thing that I really want to hit on here is that the handler will now avoid getting too close to large monsters. So I had previously posted a video of my Big Bang getting interrupted by the handler running by and pushing me out of the way. And I know a lot of other players have experienced the same thing, and people have even gotten carded from it. If we can't leave it in camp, okay, at least it will now avoid getting too close to large monsters, which hopefully means that it won't get too close to me either. So hopefully that's a positive change. And yeah, that pretty much covers all the things I wanted to talk about today. There's a whole bunch more changes, so if you head over to the Capcom site, you can go and find us all there. And on the Monster Hunter YouTube, they've got the showcase video. So that's everything I wanted to show. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye now.